Hey, this is John with the latest on the NFL AFC playoff race going into Week 10. Calculations are from my free tool at playoffcomputer.appspot.com. Please do that like and subscribe thing if you find this helps pass the eternity of time between Monday and Thursday night football games. I'll begin with the big winners of the past week. It's an all AFC North edition. Steelers, Bengals, and Browns all got back up to 5-3, and I'll currently hold a wild card spot after their respective wins. And for every winner, there must be a loser. The biggest losers of Week 9 were the Bills, now finding themselves out of a playoff spot for the first time since the Ice Age as their bad conference record got worse. The Jets flopped on Monday night to ruin a chance to play with the big boys, now a game back in the wild card race. And the Titans fell to 3-5, which with the way the AFC is going puts them off the radar screen of contenders. Here is the overview of the AFC. Compared to the NFC, there is almost no clarity in this mess. The Chiefs and Ravens at 7-2, along with the Jaguars at 6-2, are about the only teams with a smidgen of certainty, all above 80% chance to make the playoffs. The Chiefs and Jaguars have a slight advantage over the Ravens in that the Ravens have the smallest division lead. Dolphins alone at 6-3, now down to a 70% chance to make the playoffs. They were helped by having all their co-AFC East teams suffering losses as well. The trio of teams at 5-3 are those AFC North teams, but all have fairly drastically different chances of making the playoffs. Steelers with a head-to-head win over the Browns, as well as both an unblemished division record and a strong conference record, lead the group. Bengals trail as they have so far lost to both the Steelers and Browns, so they can't win the head-to-head tiebreaker against either of those two. And those are the only division games they have played, so 0-2 in that category, as well as 1-3 in the conference. The Bills, as I mentioned, find themselves in unfamiliar territory just outside of holding a playoff spot. Additionally, all their losses have been in conference play, which hurts their tiebreaker odds. Several teams at 4-4, Texans, Jets, and Chargers, all around 1-3 chances. Two teams at 4-5, Colts and Raiders, will need to turn their wins this past week into winning streaks to stay in contention. Three teams in various degrees of trouble, Titans, Broncos, and Patriots. Now for the important win number stats. The minimum number of wins to have any mathematical chance of making the playoffs remains at 7. That is dependent on some really wild scenarios playing out. Computer says that if a team gets to 12 wins, they will be in the playoffs no matter what. That means all teams but the Patriots look like they still control their own destiny. The number of wins that is most likely to end up being good enough for a wild card is somewhere around the 10-11 mark. 10 should be safe, but this is shaping up to be a wonky year. Looking at each division, starting with the AFC East. Everybody lost to keep pace with the Patriots. Dolphins still have about a 50-50 chance to win the division. The rest of the odds split between the Bills and Jets. Dolphins on bye this week. Bills play the Broncos. Who knows what Denver team will show up? Heck, who knows what Buffalo team will show up? Jets try to bounce back against the Raiders. Computer says that either 10 or 11 wins will be needed to take the division. TeamRankings.com projections have the Dolphins edging out the Bills for the 11 to win it, with the Bills getting 10 and a wild card. Thanks to them, as always, for letting me use their data. In the best division in football, the AFC North, Ravens and Bengals won their 4th in a row. Steelers and Browns rejoined the winning club. Ravens kept their shade above 50% chances to win the division. The rest shared among the other three, with the Steelers getting the biggest portion thanks to their tiebreaker advantages. Computer guess for wins needed to take the division is now up to 12. Again, 10-11 is the mark for getting a wild card. Team Rankings has it projected for the Ravens to get that 12, with the Browns and Bengals reaching 10 and a wild card. They have the Steelers narrowly missing out at 9. Huge division game as the Ravens host the Browns. They've already beat them once, so a chance for them to secure one head-to-head tiebreaker against a division foe. Steelers play the Packers while the Bengals host the Texans in a potential important game not only for each team's wildcard chances, but also a potential tiebreaker win. Over at the AFC South, Jaguars, while on their bye, saw their division lead decrease to 2 games over the Texans. Currently around a 70% chance to win the division. Somewhat interesting is the Titans mathematically have a better chance to win the division than the Colts, who have both a better record and beat the Titans earlier. That oddity is related to the Titans not having yet played the Jaguars, yet whereas the Colts already lost the season series to the Jaguars. Jaguars with maybe a tough test. Who really knows anymore? They take on the 49ers. Texans with that big wild card battle against the Bengals. Colts get the Patriots before their bye to try to get back to even. Titans play the Pirates of Florida. Computer says between 10 and 11 wins will be needed to win the division. Team Rankings doesn't have that much faith in the division. They project Jaguars to get 11 wins, with that being more than enough. No one else forecasts to go to their playoffs in their projections. AFC West. While the Broncos rested, the rest of the division won. Chiefs thus maintained their nice division lead over the Chargers. They have a dominating 75% chance to win the division. Chargers and Raiders share the morsels left over. Chiefs on bye this week. Chargers have a test against the Lions, with the Raiders playing the Jets. Another game, who knows what will happen. Broncos need to find another miracle win this week against the Bills. Computer estimates between 10 and 11 as the number of wins needed for the division. Team Rankings concurs. They have the Chiefs projected to win easily at 13 and 4. Chargers just outside the wildcard race at 9 and 8. Next up, my own analysis of the numbers. It's either much simpler or much more complicated than things in the NFC. Here, no teams obviously have either officially clinched or eliminated a spot, and I don't have any teams to put in my realistically in column. That would be any teams that are shoo-ins to reach the number of wins that should be safe enough to make the playoffs, currently 11 wins. I do have 3 teams that I've put in pencil that could be easily erased in the realistically out column. This is teams that would really be hard-pressed to hit a win total that has a decent hope of being good enough, which is 10 wins. Patriots would have to win out to get to 10 and 7, with the Broncos and Titans needing some really strong play to get there. Obviously, both the number of wins that would have decent hopes can change, and teams are welcome to win a few to self-check out of this clinic. So with this picture, the other 13 teams are still fighting for one of the 7 spots. There are 5 intra-conference games for Week 10. Looking at how they affect the non-combatants, as in which teams others should root for to help their own odds. Several are easy. One is most interesting. Colts at Patriots. Obviously, everyone else better off with the non-player Patriots taking out a team in the wildcard hopefuls club. Browns at Ravens. Everyone else is better off with the Ravens cruising along on their division quest and putting a dent in one of the wildcard spot holders. Texans at Bengals is kind of interesting. The Steelers are better off with a Bengals win, as they currently hold tiebreaker advantages over them, but not the Texans. Other than that, the Titans and Jaguars should also root for the Bengals, while others, including the Colts, which seems nonsensical, should root for the Texans. The fun one of the week is Jets at Raiders. Fully half the rest of the conference should root for either team, according to the computer. And this is where, when we have 2 teams in the middle of the wildcard race, the tiebreaker calculations really come into play to determine which team winning is better for the others. Finally, the Broncos at the Bills. Only the Chiefs are slightly better off of a Bills win, as it would basically eliminate one division team from the AFC West race. Everyone else is better off of a Broncos win to sink the Bills further into the middle of the wrestling ring. That's it for now. Again, my site is playoffcomputer.appspot.com. Please check it out if you play in, or in particular, commish a fantasy or other sports league, or want to support this mission in stat geekery. Feel free to send comments, questions, or suggestions. Enjoy your day.